When I heard the news from the doctor that I was pregnant, I was so overwhelmed with excitement that I stumbled over my words and confirmed it with her repeatedly. Ms. Jiang, I can tell you with absolute certainty that you are about 10 weeks pregnant, and all your indicators are looking good at the moment. I carefully took the report and asked the doctor once more about precautions before finally leaving reassured. When I got home, I called Chen Yang and told him to come back early today because I had something to announce. Hearing the lightness in my tone, he teased, met with something happy. Why do you have to wait until I'm home to tell me? You'll know when you get back. In recent years, we had both been under a lot of pressure. He single-handedly kept the company running, busy with social engagements every day to secure deals. I, on the other hand, had been caught up in the journey of trying to conceive. Facing failure after failure, disappointment after disappointment. Fortunately, now the company's performance was steadily growing, and its scale had doubled, and I had finally conceived a child. Our hardships had finally paid off. Such good news. Of course, I wanted to tell him face to face. I prepared a table full of his favorite dishes and waited for him to come back so we could celebrate together. But I waited, and there was still no sign of him. I called him, but no one answered. I waited until 11 p.m. and finally, he came back, smelling of alcohol and looking exhausted. The moment he saw me, he squinted and grinned foolishly, saying, "Honey, I'm home. Didn't you say you'd come back early?" He took off his coat and headed to the bathroom. "Honey, something really came up today. I couldn't get out of it." Listening to the sound of running water from the bathroom, I felt a bit disappointed and silently sighed. After Chen Yang came out of the shower, he looked at me sitting blankly on the bed. "Why haven't you gone to sleep yet? Did you forget I said I had something to tell you?" He slapped his forehead. "Sorry, I was so busy today that I forgot. So, tell me, what is it? What's so mysterious?" Thinking about the pregnancy, I set aside the little bit of unhappiness I had, took out the prenatal report from the drawer, and handed it to him. "I'm pregnant. Surprised, aren't you?" Chen Yang was clearly taken aback. His gaze toward me was a mix of shock and doubt, but there was not a trace of joy. "How did you suddenly get pregnant?" His tone carried a hint of reproach and a barely perceptible irritation, and my heart instantly sank. I had imagined countless scenarios of how he might react to this news, but I never expected him to be unhappy. Chen Yang took the report from me, his brows furrowed. "Are you sure you want to go through with it?" His tone was stiff, as if this had nothing to do with him. And there wasn't a trace of concern for me. I stared blankly at him. Was this the man I had loved for nearly 20 years? Suddenly, he felt so unfamiliar. Seeing my pale face, he softened his tone and quickly explained, Yuan, I didn't mean anything by it. I'm just worried about your health. But the one who told me to stay home and have a baby was you." I didn't understand. He was the one who said he liked children, and his mother had put a lot of pressure on me. Over the years, I had tried all kinds of folk remedies and even attempted IVF multiple times, but all ended in failure. He also knew very well how much pain and despair I had endured. "Chen Yang, why, if you didn't want a child, why didn't you say so earlier?" "It's not that I don't want one, I'm just a bit worried. You're considered an advanced maternal age now, and I'm afraid the baby might not be healthy." His reasoning was flimsy. At 35, while it's true I was of advanced age, it's quite common nowadays, especially with the advancements in medical technology. Watching his evasive eyes, I said firmly, "The doctor said everything is fine. Now that it's finally back, I have to protect it this time." In fact, this wasn't my first pregnancy. Shortly after we got married, I had been pregnant once, but I lost the baby in a car accident. The child was already fully formed. At the time, I cried so much I nearly fainted, and Chen Yang held me tightly, sobbing as he said, Yuan, once your body recovers, we'll bring the baby back." That child became a lifelong pain for us. I have lived with guilt ever since, waking up crying from dreams late at night. When the company started to improve a little, Chen Yang and I began preparing for pregnancy, and bringing the baby back became an obsession for me. "The company has been busy lately, and I might not have much time to take care of you." His face showed concern. But I had always been someone who refused to give in easily, holding back the frustration. I said, "It's fine, I can manage on my own." Chen Yang sighed. "Since you've made up your mind, then go ahead. It's late, let's sleep." He pulled off his towel, revealing his strong, well-built figure. Chen Yang had a habit of working out and had always kept himself in great shape. As he aged, he had gained an air of maturity and refinement. My best friend once joked, "Your old Chen is getting more handsome by the day. You need to keep a close eye on him." Nowadays, young girls are really into rich, good-looking uncles like him. I didn't take it seriously. Chen Yang was famously known as a devoted husband. We had known each other since we were young and had been together for nearly 20 years. Through countless ups and downs, no one could tear us apart. A couple of years ago, I stepped back from the company to focus full-time on preparing for pregnancy. Apart from being busier, Chen Yang's behavior seemed perfectly normal. He came home every day, never stayed out overnight, kept me updated on his schedule, and let me check his phone and bank cards anytime. Although he wasn't particularly romantic, he always made an effort to prepare thoughtful gifts for my birthday and our anniversary, and every year, he made time to travel with me, if it weren't for how he reacted tonight when I told him about the pregnancy. His behavior could be described as flawless. Chen Yang quickly fell asleep, but I tossed and turned, unable to rest. Picking up my phone, I saw a piece of gossip Lin Lei had shared in our group chat. "Some young girls these days are really bold. Remember the front desk receptionist at our company I told you about last time? She recently sent a text to the boss's wife, openly provoking her, saying she's pregnant and demanding she step aside. Yesterday, the boss's wife showed up and confronted her." My mind went blank, and a chill ran through me. Suddenly, I remembered something from a few months ago. About 3 or 4 months back, I received a strange text message. "I'm pregnant." There was no greeting, no context. At the time, I thought someone had sent it to the wrong number and didn't think much of it. I kindly reminded them of their mistake. "Congratulations, but I think you've got the wrong person. I don't know you." They never replied, and I didn't think about it again. But now, thinking back, a chill ran through my entire body. I pulled up that text and saved the number to my contacts. I opened social media, granted the app access to my contacts, and soon enough, the algorithm recommended her account to me. Her username was Drifting Fragrance, and she looked to be in her early 20s, with a pure, innocent appearance that seemed gentle and obedient. Like many young girls, she loved sharing her life on social media. In her most recent selfie, her belly was slightly rounded. There's something inexplicable about intuition. The moment I saw her, for some reason, countless images of her and Chen Yang together flashed through my mind. I unlocked Chen Yang's phone and searched through his contacts and WeChat, but I couldn't find any trace of her. Even his transaction history showed nothing unusual. I scoffed at myself, thinking I must be overthinking things. Just as I was about to turn off the screen, a message popped up on WeChat. "Ah Yang, you need to pay more attention to Xiao Su." The sender was my mother-in-law. Oddly enough, aside from that message, their chat history was completely blank. And who exactly was this Xiao Su? Using Chen Yang's phone, I opened my mother-in-law's moments. Among her posts, there was a group photo from 3 months ago that had been hidden from me. In the photo were my mother-in-law, Chen Yang, and Drifting Fragrance. At first glance, it looked like a warm, happy family portrait of a mother, son, and daughter-in-law. My mother-in-law's caption was even more blatant. "When people get older, all they want is to enjoy family time with their son and daughter-in-law. If you're looking for a daughter-in-law, someone like our Xiao Su is the perfect choice." So Xiao Su was Drifting Fragrance. A sharp pain pierced my heart, spreading through my limbs and draining all the strength from my body. I think my husband is about to have a new family. Chen Yang's involvement with this Xiao Su likely had a lot to do with my mother-in-law. As a single mother, my mother-in-law had always had an intense need to control Chen Yang. Chen Yang and I had been secretly interested in each other since middle school, and naturally, she disapproved. She blamed me, thinking that as a young girl, I was improperly seducing her son, and demanded we break up. Chen Yang appeared to comply but secretly kept in touch with me. We both got into a top 985 university together. When Chen Yang finally told her the truth, she still didn't like me, but by then, she couldn't control him anymore and had to turn a blind eye. Over the years, we managed to maintain a surface-level harmony, but after years of marriage without children, she began making snide remarks again, even going so far as to declare, "My son is now rich and handsome. He could easily find an 18-year-old girl. If you can't have children, You might as well get a divorce now. Fortunately, Chen Yang always stood by my side, comforting me and defending me against his mother's words. In the last couple of years, aware of the pressure I was under, he minimized my contact with her. When she suggested moving in with us, he politely declined. Mom, you're still young. You should go out and enjoy yourself. Yuan, and I want to savor our time as a couple. Once Yuan has a child, we'll welcome you to stay with us. She had thrown tantrums, cried, and even threatened self-harm, but thankfully, Chen Yang stood his ground and was used to her antics. Countless times, I marveled at how lucky I was to have Chen Yang shielding me from most of his mother's torment, but I never expected the tables to turn so quickly. Quietly, I took a photo of the three of them together and marked my mother-in-law's message as unread, glancing at the sleeping Chen Yang. I tiptoed out of the room, went down to the underground garage, and found his car reeking of alcohol, with an empty bottle on the floor. Checking the dashcam, I discovered he frequently visited a nearby residential complex, just 3 traffic lights away from where we lived. I don't know if it was convenience or audacity that guided his choice. Just yesterday, he had taken her for a prenatal checkup. I heard him call her Suyun, uncle. Lebao started moving non-stop the moment he heard your voice. Chen Yang placed a hand on her belly, leaning in close. Be good, Lebao, I'm your dad. Come on, Dad will tell you a story. The sound of Chen Yang's voice shattered my lingering hope. He really had fathered a child with another woman behind my back. Uncle, is your wife really not going to have kids? Jiang Yuan's health isn't good. She can't conceive. It was true, I hadn't been able to get pregnant for years, a lingering effect of my previous miscarriage. Makes sense, if she could. She would have by now. At her age, even if she did get pregnant, the baby probably wouldn't be healthy. Poor Lebao, though, he'll have to grow up in a single-parent family. Enough, Lebao is my son too. I won't shortchange him. But he can't grow up in a normal family, and you say you won't shortchange him. Suyun's voice carried a hint of grievance. Suyun, aside from a title, I can give you everything. Jiang Yuan has been with me for 20 years, I can't divorce her. I know I shouldn't ask for a title, but thinking about Lebao being called a bastard by others breaks my heart. Suyun began to cry softly. You care about your wife, but who cares about me and Lebao? Enough, stop crying. Chen Yang's voice grew irritable. Lebao is my flesh and blood too. I won't let him bear the label of a bastard. He let out a long sigh. Give me some time, let me think it over. I felt frozen to the bone but forced myself to watch the footage from the past month. Her prenatal checkups were on Thursdays, and she was carrying a boy. Aside from when he was genuinely meeting clients, Chen Yang spent 2 to 3 hours with her every evening. On nights he came back from her place, he would stop at the garage, drink a few swigs, and sprinkle some alcohol on his clothes before heading upstairs. I thought he was tied up with business and brought home by his assistant, but that wasn't the case. He had been lying to me all along, orchestrating a performance just for my sake. Numb, I sat rigid in the car until dawn. Around 6 a.m., a ringtone broke the silence. It wasn't mine. Following the sound, I found another phone under the driver's seat. The screen showed an incoming call labeled Suyun. Clutching the phone tightly, I trembled all over. I wanted to answer but hesitated. Instead, I took a photo of the screen, letting it ring repeatedly until it finally stopped. The phone's password was easy to crack. It was still my birthday. On this phone, WeChat had only 2 contacts, my mother-in-law and Suyun. I recorded all the chat logs and transaction histories. When I got home, Chen Yang was already up, wearing an apron and making breakfast. I stared blankly at his back. Wifey, where did you go so early? Couldn't sleep, so I took a walk outside. Over the years, stress had made insomnia a regular companion. On sleepless nights, I often strolled around the neighborhood, and he was used to it. Breakfast is ready, wash your face and eat. He had fried an egg for me and made a sandwich, swapping my usual morning coffee for milk. At home, he always played the part of the perfect husband, taking such good care of me. But how could a man like this father a child with another woman? After breakfast, he said something urgent came up at the company and he needed to go. It's the weekend, something came up. Can't help it. Xiao Liu called about an issue with an order. I have to check it out. What can I say? I'm the boss. I have to handle things myself. His expression was perfectly natural. I kept my composure and nodded. Go ahead. After he left, I called Lin Lei to accompany me to the company to audit the accounts. Why the sudden interest in auditing, planning to split the assets? Lin Lei slammed on the brakes, nearly losing it, and stopped the car. Jiang Yuan, am I hearing this right? She was practically yelling, her voice piercing my ears. Is your old Chen in trouble? Yes, he's with someone else now, and they even have a child. Why else would I call you? The company was something we built together. The initial capital came from the money my family gave me for a house, and I held 80% of the shares. I would never allow anyone to take a single cent meant for me and my child. No way. Could there be a misunderstanding? I opened the social app and went to Suyun's page. Her latest video, posted 10 minutes ago, showed a man's hand resting on her slightly rounded belly. The caption read, "Daddy is here to spend time with Lebao again tilde." I handed the phone to Lin Lei. They're having a blissful family moment right now. The video was crystal clear. The couple's ring on the man's hand was one Lin Lei had helped me pick out. There was no way she wouldn't recognize it. Unbelievable. You two have been together for nearly 20 years. Right, my faith in love is shattered. Another daily dose of marriage horror stories. Good thing I'm not marrying. When we got to the company, the office was empty, not a soul in sight. He said there was an urgent matter at the company. Does this look like anyone's here? She sighed heavily. I always joked about it, but I never thought old Chen would actually cheat. You're right, no matter what happens, the first step is to secure your assets. Maybe it was because Chen Yang had told Suyun about my pregnancy. A few days later, I woke up to a text from her early in the morning. Sister, you're pregnant too. I remember you're 35. At that age, can you really have a healthy baby? Kids are smarter and healthier when you have them early, like I did at my age. I heard the last one you lost was already pretty developed. It cried a few times before passing. You should consider terminating it while it's still early, before you get too attached. If you wait until it's further along and find out there's a problem, it'll be too late. You don't want to go through the pain of losing another child, do you? Just let me have uncle's children, he prefers sons. Each line of provocation cut through me like a merciless blade, piercing my heart, trembling all over. I couldn't hold back any longer. I dialed her number, but she hung up, shaking uncontrollably. I felt a dull ache in my lower abdomen. Clutching my stomach, I slowly lowered myself onto the sofa. Yuan, what's wrong? Did you catch a chill? Chen Yang, who was about to head out, paused at the sight of my pale face. Chen Yang, my stomach hurts. He poured me a glass of brown sugar water and felt my forehead. Just lie down and rest for a while. You'll feel better. Just then, his phone rang. He glanced at it warily, stepped aside, and muttered softly, "I'll be right there." After hanging up, he looked hurried. Yuan, something's come up. I have to go now. You rest well. I panicked and grabbed his sleeve. Chen Yang, can you not go? I really don't feel well. He frowned and checked his watch. Yuan, there's a bid in Nan City today. My flight's at 9:30. If I don't go now, I'll miss it. Do you want me to carry you to bed? I shook my head. Don't go out today. Forget about the deal if you have to. Come on, don't be stubborn. I'll try to come back early this afternoon. He pried my hand off and strode toward the door. Chen Yang. I called out loudly, I'm really disappointed in you. Don't make a scene. Just rest well. Watching his retreating figure, my heart felt like dead ashes. Today was Thursday, Suyun's prenatal checkup day. I lay on the sofa for a while, but the pain in my abdomen didn't subside. A warm sensation trickled down below. When I went to the bathroom, I saw blood on my pants. I was spotting, gritting my teeth. I pulled myself together, packed a few things, and headed to the hospital. The doctor said it was a threatened miscarriage and recommended hospitalization to protect the pregnancy, since I had no one with me. A nurse helped me with the admission process. She was a young, lively girl. Where's your husband? Something as serious as this. And he didn't come. Thinking about how Chen Yang was probably accompanying Suyun at that very moment, my heart ached. He's busy, I said flatly. Then I looked up and saw Chen Yang, arm in arm with Suyun, walking toward me. Suyun leaned into him, the two of them looking every bit like a devoted couple. Busy with someone else, I muttered bitterly. I had originally planned to gather more evidence before exposing them, but at that moment, I couldn't hold back any longer. Chen Yang looked up, and the smile on his face slowly froze. Yuan, what exactly is your relationship? How long has this been going on? Despite my efforts to stay composed, my voice trembled, cracking at the end. Yuan, let me explain. Fine, explain right here, in front of everyone. Tell me why you abandoned your wife, who's facing a threatened miscarriage, to accompany another woman. Uncle, my stomach hurts. Suyun clutched her belly, looking pitiful. Where does it hurt? Call the doctor. The moment Suyun mentioned her stomach, Chen Yang immediately turned his attention to her, gently touching her belly. Le Bao, you have to be strong, so the child in her belly is yours, isn't it? Chen Yang was too busy comforting Suyun to respond. His eyes were fixed only on her and the baby in her womb. And I felt as though I had fallen into an icy abyss. Chen Yang, answer me. Jiang Yuan, can you stop making a scene? This is a public place. Can't we save face for each other? Slap. Ignoring my physical discomfort, I rushed over and slapped Chen Yang across the face. The surroundings suddenly fell silent. Chen Yang covered his cheek, staring at me in disbelief. Yuan, I nodded, fighting back the bitterness in my nose. Chen Yang, we're done. Let's get a divorce. How dare you hit him? Suyun snapped out of it and shoved me hard. Caught off guard, I fell heavily to the ground. A sharp pain shot through my lower abdomen, and a gush of fluid flowed out. Blood soaked through my pants and spread across the floor tiles. I stared blankly at the blood, my hands and feet turning icy cold. The nurse immediately realized the severity and grabbed a stretcher from nearby, helping me onto it. Lie down. You're bleeding too much, don't move anymore. Several doctors gathered around, and I was quickly wheeled into the operating room. Doctor, can my baby still be saved? We'll do our best. The glaring lights of the emergency room stung my eyes. In a daze, I thought back to 10 years ago, when I lost my first child. At that time, we had just started our business and didn't know I was already pregnant. We were working around the clock to secure a big order when Chen Yang, exhausted, got into a car accident and crashed into a guardrail. I was in the passenger seat and was hurt the worst. I was in a coma for half a month. When I woke up, the doctor told me I had been pregnant, but to save my life, they had used many medications that were unsafe for pregnant women. The baby might be deformed, and I needed to prepare myself mentally. I spent 4 months in the hospital recovering. During that time, I felt the little life inside me grow day by day and experienced the miracle of being connected by blood. But at my first prenatal checkup after being discharged, the doctor delivered devastating news. The baby isn't developing well, there's a genetic mutation. We recommend terminating the pregnancy. From the joy of learning I was pregnant, to the anxiety during treatment, to the final verdict from the doctor, clutching the diagnosis, my heart felt like it was being torn apart. She was over 6 months along by then. The only option was induction. After a day and night of excruciating pain, I finally gave birth to her. She was so small, barely the size of my palm, her tiny body red all over. She still had a breath in her, letting out a faint cry before slowly fading away. My baby never got to see this world. Before we could even love her, she was gone. And now, were you going to leave me again too? I felt my body sinking, as if falling into an endless, bottomless abyss. After what felt like an eternity, I saw a little girl in a pink dress. I recognized her immediately. She was my baby, the one who appeared in my dreams so many times. She stood before me, tears streaming silently down her face. Mommy, it hurts. But she didn't reach out for a hug, she just gazed at me, her eyes filled with reluctance, until finally she said, Mommy, goodbye. No, my heart ached, and I screamed at her. She turned back and said earnestly, Mommy, take care of yourself. Then she ran off into the distance. I tried to get up and chase after her, but my legs wouldn't move. I could only kneel there, watching as she ran farther and farther away, until she disappeared from my sight. With a long sigh, I jolted awake. I'm sorry, the baby didn't make it. When I was wheeled out, I saw Chen Yang, his face full of anxiety. Yuan, his eyes were red, and his expression was filled with guilt. Yuan doesn't want to see you, you should leave. When the doctor admitted me to the hospital, I had called Lin Lei. She immediately took leave and rushed over. As for Suyun pushing me and causing my miscarriage, the nurse had called the police, and Suyun was taken away. I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were having a threatened miscarriage, I thought you just had a cold. Chen Yang explained awkwardly. So what you're saying is that Yuan doesn't matter, and the woman you're seeing outside matters more. Lin Lei didn't hold back. Su Yun has no family or friends here. Yeah, no family or friends, but she has hands and feet. Is it impossible for her to survive without inserting herself into someone else's marriage? Yuan does have a husband, but when she needed bed rest to protect her pregnancy, she had to come alone. Chen Yang, look at yourself in the mirror. Are you even human? Lin Lei didn't mince words, tearing into Chen Yang. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? If you want Yuan to forgive you, first make that woman outside get rid of the baby. This, Chen Yang looked at me pleadingly. Yuan, that's a life. Can you please let it go? I promise, once the baby is born, I'll send them both away. They'll never appear in front of you again. Looking at this man who kept begging, my heart felt like a dead calm. Chen Yang, I said we're getting a divorce. Jiang Yuan, don't mention divorce again. I won't agree. That's not up to you. If you don't agree, I'll take it to court until the divorce is finalized. Leave now. I don't want to see you anymore. The child is innocent. Why can't you show a little compassion for a child? I turned my face to the wall and didn't look at him again. Chen Yang, get the hell out of here. You're shameless and still think you're in the right. The woman you're keeping outside just caused Yuan to miscarry. And now you want her to forgive you. On what grounds? I'm sorry, she didn't mean it. But what's done is done and can't be undone. Yuan, for my sake, can you let Su Yun off the hook? The child is innocent. What do you mean? The child is innocent. Wasn't Yuan's lost child innocent? You want Yuan to accept the child you had outside. Then how about Yuan has another man's child and you raise it? Lin Lei's words caught him off guard. How is that the same? How is it different? You're allowed to have an illegitimate child, but Yuan isn't. That's quite the double standard. Disgusting. Lin Lei kicked him out. Are you going to leave on your own, or do you need me to escort you out? Do you want to stay here and keep upsetting her? Yuan, get some rest. I'll come see you tomorrow. After Chen Yang left, Lin Lei closed the door and said bitterly, men, they only behave themselves when they're 6 feet under. During my time in the hospital, Chen Yang came every day, but Lin Lei never let him in. The day I was discharged, Chen Yang came to pick me up. I handed him the divorce agreement I had drafted. Let's get a divorce. Take a look at this agreement and see if there's anything wrong with it. Yuan, can't you just forgive me this once? Tell me, when did it start? Chen Yang hung his head, lit a cigarette, and took a drag. During Chinese New Year this year, when I went home, Mom got me drunk and pushed her into my room. When I woke up, she was in my bed. 2 months later, Mom told me Su Yun was pregnant and sent her here. His mother had never liked me, so every time I visited his home, I only stayed for a short while before returning to my own place. She must have done this while I wasn't around. Over the years, Mom has aged a lot. She's been hoping for a grandchild for so long. And I couldn't bear to disappoint her. Besides, there hadn't been any news from you, and you were under so much pressure. At the time, I was confused and thought that if she gave birth, we could raise the child, and you wouldn't have to go through the ordeal yourself. So you took advantage of my trust to have another woman bear your child, and then expected me to raise it. I'm so sorry. I really made a mistake. It was a moment of confusion. Lately, he seemed to have aged a lot, unshaven, with bloodshot eyes, but none of that mattered to me anymore. Yuan, I've thought it through. If it makes you uncomfortable, I'll have her terminate the pregnancy. After that, can we stop talking about divorce and go back to how we were? We can still have children in the future. He reached out to hug me, just like before, but thinking of the dream I had in the emergency room, my heart ached, and I pushed him away. Come talk to me after you've done it. For now, move out for a few days. His face fell, and he sighed softly in resignation. All right, I know you're hurting. I'll stay out of your sight for now and sleep at the company office. 3 days after Chen Yang moved out, my mother-in-law arrived from her hometown. She banged on my door aggressively. Jiang Yuan, I heard you want Xiao Su to have an abortion. You can't have children yourself, so you won't let anyone else give me a grandson. I'm telling you, if anything happens to my grandson, I'll fight you to the death, even if it costs me my life. Faced with her tantrum, I simply called security to have her removed, but she refused to leave. lying on the ground and wailing, hurling curses at me. Look at this. What a disgrace. My son married such a horrible woman. Other daughters-in-law let their mothers-in-law live with them and enjoy family time in their old age, but she won't even let me visit and chased me back to the countryside. The neighbors started giving me strange looks, whispering among themselves. Some even tried to persuade me, "You can't treat her like this. She's old, she shouldn't be living alone in her hometown. One day, you'll be old too. Put yourself in her shoes." Young people these days have lost all sense of respect for the elderly, I sighed. Then why don't you ask her about the mistress she found for her son? She claims to hate homewreckers more than anyone, having suffered that pain herself. Raising Chen Yang alone as a single mother, but now that she's a mother-in-law, she pushes another woman onto her son while we're still married. Chen Yang's father had abandoned them for another woman. That's why she poured all her energy into Chen Yang. When Chen Yang and I started dating, she felt I was stealing her son. I sympathized with her struggles and tried to be understanding, but after marriage, spending time with her up close only revealed her controlling nature toward Chen Yang and her hostility toward me. Before Su Yun, she had secretly tried to set Chen Yang up with other women, urging him to divorce me. Because you've been through the storm, you think it's okay to tear apart someone else's umbrella. It's your fault for not being able to bear children. Do you really think it's entirely my problem? Have you considered that maybe your son is the one with the issue? Impossible. I called Chen Yang and told him to come get his mother. Chen Yang, I'm warning you, if you let Xiao Su abort my grandson, I won't live. Mom, stop making a scene. I told you not to marry her back then. Look at you now, married for over a decade and still no child, unlike Xiao Su, who got pregnant on the first try. I raised you all by myself. I'm 70 now, with not many years left. All I want is to hold my grandson before I die. Is that too much to ask? Can't you give me that? Xiao Su is carrying your child and still stuck in detention. Have you no shame? Chen Yang looked at me pleadingly. Yuan, can you drop the charges? Absolutely not. Chen Yang still hired a lawyer and secured bail for Su Yun. She updated her social media, posting a new photo with Chen Yang and his mother. In the picture, she leaned against Chen Yang, hands resting on her belly, with the caption, "Reborn, Uncle came to take me home. We'll be together forever from now on." Someone commented, "Is this your husband? He looks so refined," she replied. "Thanks, I fell for him at first sight too." Lin Lei told me that after sorting through the company's transaction records, it was clear that over the past 6 months, Chen Yang had been funneling money to a new company under false pretenses. The legal representative of that company was Su Yun. The amount involved was in the tens of millions. The legal team I hired filed multiple lawsuits, one against Su Yun for intentional harm, another against Chen Yang for embezzling company assets, and a demand for Su Yun to return everything she had received from Chen Yang. When Chen Yang received the court summons, he finally came to negotiate. Before this, I had called him multiple times to discuss the divorce, but he always made excuses. The company split into 2 factions, his loyalists and my steadfast supporters. The infighting brought operations to a standstill. Eventually, I took decisive action, dismissed his key allies, and stripped him of his authority, bringing the company back under control. Su Yun, due to her pregnancy, wasn't detained until after the verdict. For some reason, Chen Yang suddenly had a change of heart and agreed to give up all his shares in the company, return the embezzled assets, and settle the matter quickly to finalize the divorce. With Su Yun's due date approaching, he was probably eager to legitimize their relationship. I agreed not to pursue charges for the embezzlement and to expedite the divorce, but I refused to drop the intentional harm lawsuit against Su Yun. After a night of deliberation, he agreed. Once the share transfer and asset return were complete, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to finalize the divorce. 20 years of love and history came to an end. Chen Yang left with almost nothing. As we walked out with the divorce certificate, his eyes reddened, and he apologized. "It's all my fault for ending up here. I destroyed what we had. I just hope you take care of yourself." Seeing his sincerity, I pulled a report from my bag and handed it to him. "After all these years together, I only got pregnant twice. Yet you and Su Yun conceived immediately. Didn't that ever strike you as odd? We had both undergone tests during our years of trying to conceive. I had some lingering issues from the car accident. and his sperm motility had always been poor. But he had never actually seen his own report. I always told him it was fine to spare his feelings, so he genuinely believed the problem was entirely mine. Chen Yang took the report, flipped through it, and stood frozen, his expression stiff. Farewell. I turned and walked away, whether he believed it or not. I didn't care. I heard that Chen Yang never married Suyun. Even after she gave birth, she remained unmarried. The next time I saw Chen Yang was in court. He reached out to my lawyer, offering to testify that Suyun had deliberately pushed me, causing me to lose the baby. After the hearing, he found me and asked if I would give him another chance. Yuan, I was wrong. Suyun's child isn't mine. It belongs to some small-time troublemaker from the village. I never touched her. You know me, when I'm drunk, I'm completely out of it. Back then, I was blinded and didn't think clearly. It was my fault for not cherishing what we had. Can we try again? For the sake of our 20 years together. Months had passed, and he had lost so much weight. His face marked by defeat, a far cry from the confident, charismatic man he used to be. Actually, I did give you a chance. On the day I miscarried, I knew you were going to accompany Suyun. My stomach hurt too. If you had chosen to stay with me, maybe, just maybe, I would have considered giving you another chance for the baby's sake. That morning, I received a provocation text from her. She cursed my baby and used my previous loss to hurt me. You told her about those things, didn't you? She attacked me with the cruelest words, and you were complicit. I showed him the texts Suyun had sent me, and you didn't stay for me that day. You rushed off to accompany her to her prenatal checkup, when you pried my hand away and walked out without looking back. I knew we were finished. I'm sorry. After reading the messages, he covered his face and crouched down, sobbing. It's all my fault. In the end, Suyun was sentenced to 2 years in prison for intentional harm and ordered to return all the money Chen Yang had transferred to her during our marriage. As for her child, I heard it was sent back to its biological father. On the day of the verdict, Chen Yang came to say goodbye. I'm going back to my hometown for now, to start something new. Unless there's official business, I probably won't return to Binhai City. Take care. 20 years of love and resentment finally dissolved like smoke, fading away. Epilogue. Chen Yang. When I left, I told her I wouldn't return to that city. But in truth, I still go back every year to secretly watch her from afar. She took over the company and ran it better than I ever could. Even back in school, she was always more outstanding than me. We'd been schoolmates since middle school. The first time I saw her, she was on stage giving a speech as a student representative. Her eyes were so bright and full of life, sparkling with charisma. It so happened that my deskmate knew her well. I asked him about everything concerning her, learning that she had been independent and exceptional since childhood. A deep sense of inferiority took root in me. I studied relentlessly, just to catch up to her. Later, by the time of the high school entrance exam, I succeeded. We were admitted to the same prestigious provincial Key High School and placed in the same advanced class. Hi, I'm Chen Yang. We went to the same middle school. Really? She smiled as she looked at me, and my heart raced uncontrollably. She probably thought that was our first meeting. But she didn't know I had spent 3 years chasing after her. We naturally grew closer, ended up together, attended the same university, worked for a couple of years after graduation, and then started a business and got married. Everyone envied our love story, and I always believed we would grow old together. But later, one wrong step led to another. There was my mother's influence, but mostly, it was my fault. The repeated failures to conceive put immense pressure on her, and it pained me to see. Sometimes I thought maybe we should just adopt. Then my mother told me Suyun was pregnant with my child. My plan was to let Suyun have the baby and give it to Jiang Yuan to raise. That way, my mother would be satisfied, and Jiang Yuan wouldn't have to suffer through pregnancy. I secretly set up a company in Suyun's name and transferred money to her as compensation. I thought my plan was flawless. But when I found out Jiang Yuan had conceived naturally, I was completely thrown off. Everything fell apart. I tried to pay Suyun off, but she not only threatened me but also provoked Jiang Yuan, ultimately causing her to lose the baby. She never forgave me. I knew I had hurt her too deeply and didn't deserve her forgiveness. After leaving Binhai, I never stopped following her life. Every year, I'd travel thousands of miles just to catch a distant glimpse of her. 3 years after we separated, she got together with another business. I was consumed by jealousy but powerless to do anything. Eventually, they married. She walked down the aisle again, becoming someone else's bride in a grand ceremony. The next year, she gave birth to a little princess. They were overjoyed and publicly announced the happy news. A friend of a friend shared a photo of the baby on social media. She looked so much like her mother, big, bright eyes and an especially lively expression. She had finally gotten her baby back, just not with me. I went to a temple and prayed for a blessing amulet for the little girl, hoping she would grow up safe, healthy, and live a long life.